We start our meetings with a public comment period. Speakers are allowed 2 minutes. If you would like to share some comments with the county board, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and tell us what you would like to say.
My name is, hello, good evening. My name is Ann Olson, and I'm with a group called Animal Folks. I've spoken with you all before, back I think when we were talking about a puppy mill issue, commercial dog breeders, back in August, September, and also in 2016. I'm here tonight together with different residents who have been working hard on this issue, gathering different petitions, which have been presented to you, some of them, but they are continuing to present them. What we would like is that this issue be discussed, placed on the agenda for further discussion, so that we can really, the board together with its staff can really look at the existing breeders, the permitting process, the compliance measures, who's in compliant or not, and whether this is something that we're hoping it's not the kind of industry that continues here in Winona County, because we are concerned about how these animals are confined within kennels for mass production. So this is why we're asking that it is placed on the agenda for discussion. And a moratorium. I know we had asked this before too, if a moratorium could be placed. I know back in 2016, there was a great paper written for that. It was to allow for a year to discuss. So whatever kind of time frame is necessary, because we know staffing can be tough. So we respect that as well. Yes, I'm hoping that it can follow your process. A moratorium can be passed to discuss this, and that this issue isn't forgotten. We do believe it's very important to the community, and we have actually walked the streets, and these people too have gathered hundreds of petitions, and they'll continue to do so. Now that the weather's better, no more snow or ice to fall on. So thank you for your time.
Ms. Olson, just for the record, could you tell us your address?
Yes, I'm sorry. 892 Osceola Avenue, St. Paul.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else in the audience that would like to share a public comment with us? If so, please step forward to the microphones. Tell us your name and address.
Hello, Tony and Mary Bronk. Guess she's going to be on my left. We're here regarding County Road 129. And what we're hoping we could do is get some time from this group of people to come and look at what that's very confusing. And I know you and had a meeting on it and tried to figure out all the different problems there's, but you've got a railroad bed there, an old railroad bed that's 100 years old. You got a state highway department. They're asking us to relocate on our corn stand on a side hill, which is impossible. We want a meeting. We want to negotiate and work this through without going to a jury trial. And I think this can be handled without a jury trial. I think it's more important that we talk than we do fighting. And that's our backs are against the wall. You've seen some of the figures that we had for lawyer fees and stuff. We're going to have to take it to a jury trial if we can. And I know we can talk this out. Some of you guys are farmers, you know that's the best way to do it. Talk first. So.
Well, and the point is why we're here is because we did try to contact some commissioners and we were told that we couldn't talk to anybody. We don't understand why the stand wasn't about the money. It was about the stand. This is a family legacy we've had for a long time. We've had grandchildren working that and then moving into nieces and nephews. This was not something that we just wanted to fight about. And working with the lawyer at the time, he never really negotiated. He told us either you're going to take this amount of money or you're going to get nothing. So at that time, it was like, well, give us a chance. He just walked away. We were told that maybe this wasn't a legitimate business and we didn't pay our taxes. We did run this business as a family, learning how to work together and teaching children how to work hard at a job. And it's not about the money. It was about the stand being taken, and nobody seems to care. So that's why we're here trying to present that at this time. So
We've got, I know they come up with a few of the problems that came up with was taxes. I've got the taxes to show you. I will show you my taxes that it's a legitimate business. We get an extra 2 minutes for two of us. We've got the taxes we can show you. We've got documents that says that we have a legal driveway coming in. There is a legal driveway, and Tony, what's Tony's last name? Blumentrick testified that it was legal and it was right. And I can show you where I've got egress and egress rights to the property. They're up the road. The reason we're here is that we were offered $14,200 for this property, which is 70 cents a square foot. Now, just up the road to the weigh station, they're asking $4.50 a square foot. We got pushed into a corner. We didn't want to fight this. The county brought us here, made us go after this and fight it. Some of the legal cost is just ridiculous that we've got, and now we're trying to bail out from underneath. Our backs are against the wall. We're going to fight, and we don't want to.
Thank you. I realize there are two of you and they only did a 2-minute timer, but thank you very
Yeah, I
much.
wanna give you this.
If you could just wrap it up in a sentence there. Thank
Give
you.
you this. This is the issue that my attorney says that is why we should be getting the $25,000 is in that. One more thing. If they would have settled for that $37,000 at the beginning, Dave, I'd like Dave Kramer to be involved in these meetings too, please. If they would have settled for $37,000, we would have jumped right in.
Thanks.
Okay.
Is there anyone else here in the audience that would like to share a public comment with us? Please come to the podium, state your name and address, and tell us what you have to say. And if there is anyone on the internet, on Ring Central, that would like to share a public comment, could you unmute your microphone, get our attention, and share what you might have to say? I will ask 2 more times. Is there anyone here or on the internet that would like to share a public comment?
You're supposed to be able to read that.
I can't, but
I'm Gail Getzman-Stopa. I think I've talked to all of you at one time about the puppy mills. I'm an old farm girl, and I've raised puppies too when I was young. And I know what a responsibility is for a person to have a puppy, to have a whelping female that has puppies. It takes a lot of time. And I've only had one at a time. But anybody that has more than 1 or 2 dogs and has a dog, a puppy, a female dog that has puppies every time she comes in season is really a big job for that dog. Now is the time the puppies are being born. And now is the time that it's going to be really a lot of work for somebody that has more than 1 or 2 or 3 dogs that have puppies. So I'm really concerned. I'm an old school teacher. I know what it costs and what it takes in effort to take care of children. Puppies are companions. Dogs are companions. They're not livestock. They're not pigs, chickens, cattle, whether it's beef or dairy. They're puppies, they're dogs. Kitties are too. But we're real concerned about the dogs. And I wish we had a moratorium on more puppy mills, more puppies being born to places that we cannot look and take care of or look and investigate at one time or another. That's all I have to say, and thank you for listening to me. I'm really passionate about this. Thank you.
Gethman Stoll, could you, for the record, could you tell us your
Yes.
address? Thank you.
Yes, what do you need? Oh, 22036 East Burns Valley Road. Our farm is now Valley Oaks, and it wasn't sold by us. My dad was married twice, and the second woman got it all.
For the last time, is there anyone here in the room or on the internet that would like to make a public comment? If you are online, please unmute yourself, speak up. If you're here in the room, step forward to the microphone.
Something's blinking up there. I don't know, up in the right hand with the star. I don't know what that is. I can't see from here. Oh, okay. Okay. I just somebody.
Hearing none, I'm going to declare that the public comment period is closed. The next agenda item is the approval of the county board minutes from April 12th.
So moved. Second. Boy, what timing.
Okay, so I think that Commissioner Olson moved and Commissioner Kavesi seconded approval of the county board minutes from April 12th, 2022. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion passes. The next order of business would be acknowledging the receipt of the approved committee minutes, which is the Land Records Committee from October 1st of 2021.
I'll move to acknowledge 4.1. Second.
Okay, Commissioner Jacob has moved and Commissioner Olson has seconded to acknowledge receipt of the land records minutes from October 1st of 2021. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. The next item is the consent comments on approval of the agenda. Commissioner Ward?
I would like to pull 6.4 for a separate vote, please.
You can make that 7.00. Anything else?
No, not at this time. Thank you.
Commissioner Kavesi?
I just have an announcement at the end.
Commissioner Olson?
Nothing for me.
Commissioner Jacob?
One future agenda item and one announcement.
Administrator Holte? Assistant County Attorney Nuttall? Nothing. Nothing? Okay. So,
Move to approve the amended agenda.
Second.
okay, Commissioner Ward has moved, Commissioner Jacob has seconded the adjusted agenda and the consent business with the exceptions that were pulled. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay. The agenda is approved. Administrator Holte, would you read the consent business into the record?
6.1, accept certificate of performance and authorize final payment to County Road 121 project. 6.2, award bid for 2022 chip seal project to Scott Construction. 6.3, approved monthly resolution. 6.4 has been pulled. 6.5, approved donations received January 1, 2022 to March 31st, 2022. And 6.6, confirm payment of disbursement.
Thank you.
I'll move to approve the consent business as read. Second. Third.
I'm going to give it to you, Commissioner Olson. Okay. So Commissioner Jacob has moved to approve the consent business and Commissioner Olson has seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed? Okay. Motion is passed. In order to begin debate, would someone like to make a motion on item 7.00?
I move that we open discussion on item 6.4, which has become item 7.0.
Second.
Commissioner Kavessi's moved, Commissioner Olson has seconded to open discussion on item 7.00, approve local 49ers labor agreement amendment.
Motion to approve.
Second.
But wait, we didn't vote
You're
on
right, you're
the,
absolutely right.
Oh.
Okay,
until we
So-
change our procedures.
yeah. There's no discussion. Is there any discussion on opening discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, discussion's open.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Commissioner Ward.
I will not support this. It's my usual stance is that this is part of a labor agreement. It is an amended wage scale adjustment, but it has no reference to any kind of performance measures. So I will not support the amendment.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, Commissioner Olson moves to approve item 7.00, which was previously 6.4, approve local 49ers labor agreement amendment 2022 to 2024. Commissioner Kavessi has seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anyone opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. The next item is to receive a presentation for 2022 Sexual Assault Interagency Council Service Award.
Motion.
Do we need a motion?
Just in case, I'll make a motion that we
Okay.
receive the presentation.
Second.
Commissioner Olson's moved, Mr. Kavessi seconded, that we go ahead and receive the presentation for the 2022 Sexual Assault Interagency Council Service Award. Is there any discussion?
I'm going to vote against the motion because I don't think we need a motion to accept a presentation. I will gladly accept the presentation, but I don't think we need a motion.
Any other discussion? Yeah.
We should be in discussion, so I agree with that. And furthermore, it could be that 3 commissioners would vote against it, and we already approved the agenda, and this is on the agenda.
You're right.
So I'm just saying, this is a ridiculous process. They deserve to be heard whether the commissioners vote on it or not, because we approved this in the agenda.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed?
Hey,
Motion carries. Please proceed.
Thank you and good evening. My name is Kelly Wooden and I'm the coordinator of the Winona County Sexual Assault Interagency Council, SAAC or SAIC for short. Thank you for having me here tonight to speak about our SAAC and present an award to one of our valuable team members, Danielle Swedberg. According to RAIN, which stands for Rape, Abuse, and Incest National Network, every 68 seconds another American is sexually assaulted. And every 9 minutes, that victim is a child. This means each year, approximately 463,700 people are victims of sexual assault. Meaningful change comes from working together. As a group, sexual assault response teams in communities play a powerful role in improving our collective response to sexual violence. The SAAC promotes a victim-centered response to sexual violence through increased collaboration and education across various disciplines. Our SAAC consists of numerous community and system organizations working together to respond to sexual assault in Winona County. Our mission is to coordinate an effective interagency and community response to sexual assault, serving all victims and seeking justice. The Winona County SAAC team is one of 12 response teams across the state of Minnesota. The team formed in 1998 and has been continually working on improving the community's response to sexual assault. Our team focuses on creating and implementing a protocol response for sexual assault cases, provides and receives training, conducts case reviews, creates community awareness of sexual assault, and enforces organization accountability. The Winona County SAC has been funded annually with a $13,000 state grant through the Winona County Attorney's Office. The Winona County SAC currently consists of representatives from numerous agencies: Winona Police Department, Winona County Sheriff's Department, St. Charles Police Department, Lewiston Police Department, Goodview Police Department, the Department of Corrections, Winona County Attorney's Office, Winona County Health and Human Services, Family and Children's Center, the Advocacy Center of Winona, SEMCAC Clinic, Winona Health, Winona State University, and St. Mary's University. I'm grateful to lead a group of such hardworking, dedicated, and passionate individuals. It's truly remarkable to see our team members come together for this purpose. We are proud of the effective changes our SAC has been able to accomplish and how those changes have improved our collective response to victims of sexual violence. And now I'll turn it over to Christina Gillespie, who will present the 2022 SAC Service Award. Thank you.
Good evening, and thank you for taking the time tonight to honor local work on behalf of sexual assault survivors. Members of the Winona County Sexual Assault Interagency Council voted for this year's SAIC Service Award, and selected by her professional peers, the 2022 award goes to Danielle Swedberg. For almost 20 years, Danielle's work has focused on working with children who are abused, both physically and sexually. Over the course of Danielle's professional career, she has been involved in forensically interviewing children and vulnerable adults. Danielle has been trained in corner house interviews with both the basic course and the advanced forensic interviewing course. She's also been trained in the Child First interviews through the National Child Protection Training Center. Forensic interviews are interviewing skills that are both trauma-informed and are considered forensically sound. They help the survivor to use their own words to describe what happened in a safe and friendly environment. Danielle has also been willing to travel with law enforcement when children are in placements outside of Winona County and an interview is needed. Forensic interviews are an important piece of an investigation of child sexual assault allegations and an important piece in prosecution. Danielle makes the people she is speaking with during the interview feel comfortable, even when discussing the most personal of details. Danielle is also thoughtful about what additional services a victim survivor and their family need to help them process the trauma and to try to move forward. Danielle has been a member of the Sexual Assault Interagency Council for 4 years, and she's been an active participant. Danielle is frequently participating in group discussions, offering helpful ideas, asking thought-provoking questions, and offering resources. These are certainly some of the reasons that her peers selected her for this service award. Congratulations, Danielle.
Great. Say thank you to everybody on the SAIC team and also the community. One, I was very surprised, but two, it's been really nice to be working in the Winona community with such a strong SAIC team. To have the collaboration of all of the agencies working together has really made a difference. And I just want to say thank you to all of them.
Thank you. Next item is 7.2, approve a resolution recognizing County Government Appreciation Month and proclaim April 26th as County Government Appreciation Day.
I move that we approve the resolution recognizing County Government Appreciation Month and that we proclaim April 26th as County Government Appreciation Day.
I'll second that.
Commissioner Bessie has moved, Commissioner Olson has seconded that we approve the resolution and proclaim April 26th as County Government Appreciation Day.
Would you read the resolution into the record? Normally, something of this importance deserves a reading.
Would
Thank
you
you.
like to read it?
No, go ahead. Board chair should read it.
Resolution 2022 proclaiming April 26th of 2022 County Government Appreciation Day. Whereas Minnesota's 87 counties employ over 36,000 people to provide essential services to create healthy, safe, and vibrant communities. And whereas the work of county employees is fundamental, whether it's a newborn well check by a public health nurse, a passport renewal at a license center, or a voter registration and ballot processing. And whereas, through their commitment to public service, county employees dedicate their time, skills, and expertise for the benefit of their neighbors, and at times risk their personal safety, coordinating emergency management and managing justice and public safety program systems. And whereas the vital work of counties promotes healthy communities, fosters conditions for economic growth, strengthens infrastructure, and improves residents' quality of life, be it resolved that the Winona County Board of Commissioners recognizes the commitment and dedication to public service excellence of county staff and officials and proclaim April 26th County Government Appreciation Day.
Just if I could, a comment. A lot with upcoming elections and people going to be filing for different offices and everything, a lot of times I'm asked, well, what does a county commissioner do? And it truly is, a commissioner does the big picture things. We set the budget and do some policies and everything. But truly, county government is our employees that do the day-to-day things and service the customers and service the taxpayers of Winona County and the great state of Minnesota. So this is just a token of appreciation. We can't give cash bonuses. Unfortunately, we have limitations on what we can do in government, but that's okay. But I just want the citizens to know that it's the staff that does all the work. We sit here at the meetings and we're the faces sometimes, but it's really the people doing the day-to-day work and helping, as it said, the wellness checks, the property tax things or building permits and all the things that county government does. So I do appreciate the staff and thank you very much.
Hearing no more discussion. Commissioner Olson moved. I'm sorry, Commissioner Kavesi moved and Commissioner Olson seconded, approving the resolution and declaring County Government Appreciation Day. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Motion passed. The next item is the potential discussion about updating our county board ground rules.
Motion to open discussion.
Second.
Commissioner Olson has moved, Commissioner Kavesi has seconded. That we go ahead and have discussion. Any discussion about that?
Again, I will not support the motion because I don't feel it's necessary.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed?
Nay.
Okay. I have some thoughts, but the chair is supposed to go last, so.
Well, you had brought this up and I noted you referred to the pushing of the buttons and the lights and some of the outdated things that we used to do at the other location. And also the disagreement that we've had tonight over, once we approve the agenda, do we have to approve each item under general business? I think that came from our county attorney recommending that, and hasn't been past practice, so we should at least, I think, discuss what legally we need to do and should do, and if we did it wrong before, then we should correct it. But it does seem awkward, I agree.
So I've been on the board for 10 years. There hasn't been any issues in the past 10 years about how we open discussion I guess this was interjected by the county attorney. Is that what you
That's
said?
what I understood.
Okay, well, it's my understanding the county attorney is supposed to be there when called upon by the board on an issue, not necessarily to interject that they don't like the policy that we're engaging in. I guess this is gonna be whatever you decide to do. Commissioner Meyer, you're the one who put it on the agenda. I have looked at Robert's Rules of Order, and in boards of less than 20, completely acceptable to not have a motion to open discussion. And also that's where I got the notion that once you approve the agenda, you've approved the business for the evening. You don't need to reapprove it each time for each. Otherwise, what's the point of approving an agenda for the evening? So, or for the meeting, I should say. I don't have any problems with how things have been playing out the last 10 years.
So I am looking at, so I know that the stuff was printed out at the end of the packet, but I'm looking at page 3 of our packet, which is our policy. I know it's reprinted at the end. So the page 3, meeting decorum, item 5. During the county board meetings, county board members, the county attorney, and the county administrator must use lights to be recognized and speak. So I'm suggesting that we just change that to, instead of must use lights, say, we'll signal the county board chair to be recognized and to speak. And then on the very same topic on the next page, so page 4, C, role of the chairperson, number 5. The chair is responsible for facilitating discussion by recognizing speakers in order based on the sequence of the indicator lights, right? So how about if we just drop indicator lights and say recognition, right? So it's this is what we've been doing. People will move their hand or catch the chair's eye or say, Madam Chair, right? And then the chair kind of keeps a record of who's the next in the speaking order. So recognition by the chair rather than the lights. So that was my first thought. My second thought. Oh, second
Like
thought
Steve would think I was crowded.
is back on page 3 under meeting decorum. Item 7 says Appendix A, summary of motions, provides a detailed list of motion types, definitions, voting requirements, and procedures to be followed during public meetings. And if you look at the summary of motions at the bottom, okay, so I'm looking at B, sorry, I'm looking at Appendix B, which is the ladder of motions. At the bottom, it says, there's some bullet points. If a motion is made and seconded by a board member, a motion is made and seconded by a board member. If a motion is seconded and then under consideration or on the floor, then there is then and only then a discussion of the motion, which is what I have been trying to follow. So I am suggesting that we just have a policy statement that indicates for items on the agenda, discussion can begin without a motion. The way it's been, yes, yeah,
Right, because
exactly.
we don't put anything new on the agenda, so there's nothing new that the public doesn't know. We're following all that. And in my opinion, to try and craft a motion before there's been discussion, you're limiting yourself to any other possibilities, in crafting a motion that might, work better or include things. So I would prefer to go with approve the agenda. And then when we get to each item, do as we have been, having discussion, and then usually a motion will come at some point.
So my suggestion is just to codify it by putting that in our policy so that there's not a conflict with what the ladder of motions says. And I'm okay with that. Okay, so,
Actually, Madam Chair.
yeah,
Actually, you could take out the parentheses and only then, because what happens as we have our discussion, then a motion is made, which is bullet number 1, then
I'm sorry, what? What are you referring to?
I'm looking at the,
Page,
that-
page 7.
the
bottom,
bulletin
bottom.
points under the ladder of
Okay, all right.
motions.
Thank
The
you.
way we do business is, first we have general discussion, then a motion is made and seconded. And then if a motion is seconded, then it's under consideration. And then there's a discussion of the motion, which is different than the general discussion
Right.
that we've just
Yeah,
had.
I agree.
So I think we could keep the intent of what we're doing and how we're doing it by just removing what's in parentheses. There is then, and remove the and only then. I was just trying to keep it simple.
I'll do whatever, I'll support whatever it takes so that the current chair is comfortable operating the meeting. But to me, it's saying, once a motion is made, this is the procedure that you do. It doesn't mean that you're obligated to make a motion. Because there are times where things come to our agenda and nobody wants to act on it at all. And then it just, that's a possibility too. So.
Yeah.
But under what we've just said, we would have discussion, general discussion, then someone would make a motion regarding,
Even may
An
not make a
outcome.
motion at all.
yes, or they could make a motion and it could be defeated, so we don't have to have a real outcome, but we have to have discussion. And if there's a motion and a second, then you have discussion on the motion.
One other piece on I guess the rules that we're discussing, because I do think it's appropriate that the chair facilitates the discussion and speaks last, but that does not mean that no one else can speak after the chair.
It doesn't work that way. no.
Yeah, well, I think we had a previous chair that thought that's how it worked. So my goal is that the chair has no more power, no less power, and can function to represent their district and say what they need to say when they need to say it. Just facilitates the meeting, doesn't control the meeting. That's my goal for the chair.
Okay. So I'd be a little more comfortable if we did make it clear that discussion is in order before a motion is made, rather than just removing
It may not be.
and only then, yeah.
I mean, there's times where I certainly want to just start with a motion.
Okay. So maybe we can modify it a little bit for that. So on the 4th page, under agendas, the second item, I'd kind of like to have a conversation with everyone about this whole idea of, okay, if someone wants to do a board action, all they need is a second, but then it has to go to a next meeting and then there has to be 3. And then at the 3rd meeting is when the conversation can actually happen. Do you want to stick with that? It does seem cumbersome to me. And I'm wondering, could we just say the first time we need 3 votes? Or does that mean that there has to be too much conversation, so we only need a second? I don't know.
I think the reason it's cumbersome is that it's trying to be sure to respect the open meeting law. And also, I think it was probably specific to the animal unit cap, with Marcia and I wanting to move that forward. And this was the opportunity, the 3rd time, that the other 3 commissioners could say, no, we don't even want to entertain that. So that's how that step got there. So I think the cumbersome, awkward way we're doing it is probably the right way. It respects the open meeting law.
Commissioner Gafesi.
Yeah. I think the way we got here was when we only needed 2 people, we sometimes ended up discussing the item after at that time. And because you needed enough information to know if you wanted to, put it on the agenda. Now, just by topic, or someone can support it when we need 2 votes, someone can support it just so that we can get it on the agenda and talk about it. So it is cumbersome, But I understand why we got there, because otherwise we had too much discussion in order to try to get that second vote to put it on the agenda. If there was a faster way to do it, it would be helpful, but we meet twice a month, so one meeting, someone can request it be on the agenda. The next meeting, it can be on the agenda to decide, and then another meeting, which is really only a month away, we would have a full and open discussion if it gathers the 3 votes at that middle meeting.
Yeah.
So,
Commissioner Ward?
Well, and I think in being all fair and having, following our goal of being fostering open and transparent government, is that there's a lot of issues that come up that, maybe only 2 people have been, knowledgeable or approached by. And to not allow 2 districts or 2 representatives to have some information come forward would be very limiting. I don't think it would be right. So it is cumbersome, it is awkward. And so I'm sorry, I'm confused. Are we on the 3rd discussion of this thing or only the 2nd?
Right, well,
I think this is only the 2nd time. It's
no, this is the
so-
3rd.
Are you sure?
This is I'm
It
sure.
is,
it's the
okay,
3rd.
all right. See how easily, but it is cumbersome. I totally agree, but I think it's working. And until we can find out something different.
And along those lines, it helps the topic to develop with the public transparently being able to see what we might be looking at. They may want to interact with commissioners to advocate for or against. Media can tell, okay, this is going to come up for the 3rd time. They can, so I feel like it is slow and cumbersome, but I think I feel like it's the right process. So I wouldn't, I think this is one of those times where not having a motion would be in order.
On the 5th page, under goals, county board will set goals annually as a part of the strategic planning process. Okay, we don't have strategic planning
that's in there
annually.
too, excuse me.
Oh, wait, isn't there something about having your phone on?
Yeah.
It's in there, I know.
Scratch that, we'll scratch that.
Sorry.
Put money in the
Small
jar.
print.
So I think if we're not going to have it annually, we shouldn't say we're going to have it.
Well, I think
We should either have it. Yeah.
I think maybe it's an important process we should have.
Yeah.
Which
Um,
page and what item?
Goals,
Goals
On
on
page 5.
page 5.
the county board will set goals annually as a strategic planning process. And I think part of it has been COVID kind of restricted some of that extra dialogue. The retirement, the interim, the plates are quite full. But I think it's a valuable process that we should go through, especially with, we probably will potentially have some turnover, and anybody new coming into a county board should have their, ideas generated. And if we don't set them as a process, I think it would be doing them a disfavor. So I think we should put it back on the table, not necessarily right now. I think, come January, February, I think it would be more than, appropriate.
Okay. So we leave it as is and try to actually do it.
Think so?
Okay. And my last idea or request that I wanted to sort of talk about was the commissioners will refer to each other in board meetings as commissioner, but at the committee of the board, they can use first names, or I assume that means at working sessions, we can be more casual. I would personally like to extend that same courtesy to our staff and not use first names, but to call them by their last name in the title. I think it keeps it about the topic and not so much about the person. Commissioner Kavesi.
Yeah, it also helps, if anyone's listening in, they may not have a visual of who's speaking at the podium, or they may not even have a connection if we say Sandra or something, Ms. Sukla, rather if we use the title, then someone listening in or someone in the audience can make a better connection of who it is that's at the podium and providing information. So I think we should have titles used.
I think the formalities are just becoming awkward.
What's that?
I think the formalities are just becoming awkward. I think each commissioner, if they feel like it's a good idea, that's what they should do. For the full board to mandate, for me to mandate that Commissioner Olson always says interim county administrator Holte, I just feel like they had no business telling Commissioner Olson what to do. It's awkward, weird.
I'm gonna agree on the awkward, weird part, but on a different respect is when I look over there, I see Marine. It's a tongue twister to spell out their titles every time. It's awkward in that respect to me. I do understand the sentiment. I do understand that, the formality of it, because that is the position they hold. But when I see a person at the podium, they are a person and not a position. So that's just the way it comes to, for me to see visually, that's what I see at the podium, a person, not a position.
Yeah, unless you want to get name tags and they switch their position each time. The position part is stumbling. Okay, Ms. Qualley. And sometimes I don't, but I usually try to say Ms. Qualley or Ms. Sanis, or, not to be a certain amount of respectfulness. But to say, no, in the case of Ms. Qualley, is it Planning Director, Environmental Services, Agency, MPCA,
EDA.
you start throwing all their initials, behind their name. Where does it
And when are
start?
you gonna not offend them?
Yeah,
I mean, if
right.
you missed one of them,
Yeah,
you didn't use them all.
because I've got a daughter and she's
Yeah.
got multiple degrees behind her name, but she's just my daughter. I mean, with respect and respecting the department heads and everything. Yes. Now, if we were at a meeting where there's multiple counties or we're at the legislature, there's certain areas of protocol that then they should, just so people would know their titles and everything. But I think we want dialogue, we want discussion, and we want to make, solve issues and everything. So I guess I don't feel the need to call them by their, and maybe as a rule, when they come to the podium, they introduce themselves and give their title if they would like, so that members of the public, if they're watching, would identify with who that is. Just like we, in the open mic, we ask people to state their name and everything. So maybe they could just state their name, their whatever they want their title to be, Human Service Director, or, whatever they want.
We can all imagine a situation that we've experienced, a person standing at the podium, and we address them numerous times, each of us, with various questions, and it's just awkward. It doesn't bring with a flow of energy or ideas. So that's just my opinion.
And the fact of the matter is I'm not offended if I'm not referred to as Commissioner Jacob. So, I mean, that's why I would carry it the other
Well,
way.
you said Sir Jacob. Right? Yes. I'm not going to genuinely.
Whatever people call me, I'm fine with. It's not late for dinner.
To my face.
So how would you like to proceed?
I would just like some way that the public would be aware of who the person is at the podium and their title. So if we want to ask them to state their name and their title before they start answering questions or making a presentation, that would take care of that. Because we know these people, we know their roles, we deal with them, but the public does not. And, I just think it would be very helpful to have that stated before the questioning goes on. So that's where I am. We don't have to make it complicated. It can just happen, but just so that people are able to connect who it is that's making these points and why are we asking them those questions, It's not, it's not just closed knowledge for us, it's for everybody.
Well, I would recommend then, even when we have non-staff, I mean, we have people
Yes.
come in from other agencies and parts of government, just as a rule, ask the people, whoever steps to the podium, to state their name and their position, or, why are they here, why are they here today? And that be just our protocol for having people come to the podium.
That would work.
And if they, again, if they want to introduce themselves, every time they comment, that's their prerogative, but we're not asking to make it more cumbersome. So I would say change our rules just to say that the person coming to the podium to make comment would be asked to state their name and their position.
Do you want to actually try to wordsmith and make the changes tonight that would be in effect, or do you want,
I've been taking notes over there.
or do you want to have a revised?
I'm not a real wordsmither. Have you got it? Have you got it, Ms. Holte?
Bring it back, fine with me.
Yeah, bring it back as.
Because there's a few things that need to be pulled out of it. I have a couple if,
Oh, great. Oh, so I was, well, just
yeah, go
to
ahead.
finish up on Commissioner Kovesi's thought there. Except for, I'm trying to look and see, is there an item where staff come up to the podium that we could just tack a sentence on?
Well, number 8 at the bottom of the page, role of the chairship, commissioners will refer to other board members by last name. And then just maybe make, if you want to make a 9 or say department, all speakers coming to the podium should give their name and title.
I'm just gonna say we're just adding a cumbersome piece to it. It should be up to them. And they shouldn't have to be required to do anything. I mean, it makes sense that they're gonna identify who they are, and the people on the internet can hear who they are. We're just, we're taking, and it's like we're expanding our control over the community. I don't feel really good about that. Just allow people to be who they are.
Yeah, rather than expanding our control over them, I think it's just open, it's transparent government, who's speaking, what role they play in the county, and then just go on. It's not a big deal, but it will help people in the audience and in the stratosphere, or whatever you call the web.
Commissioner Olson?
It's just an example of a solution looking for a problem. I don't know why we're even having this discussion on this issue. I mean, I understand the rest of it. Has there been a problem? Has somebody been offended that they weren't addressed correctly?
One time,
I
they called me out on it right here, podium,
okay,
a month ago.
but I do understand that we should have, who's standing up there and, who's speaking and who are they? As far as the department head, if somebody's in the audience that doesn't know who they are, we might be familiar with them. Somebody on the internet might not know who they are. So they say at one time who they are. It seems like a formality, but it's probably one of those good things we should do. And then from then on, we can address them as who they are rather than what they are.
Yeah, that's really what I would
Yeah,
suggest.
I think that's what you said, but
But along the lines of a solution looking for a problem is, this is in reaction to probably that one incident. I'm gonna guess the amount of time that we're consuming on this right now. And the fact of the matter is we're never gonna be able to cover every reason that somebody's gonna be offended. And so it'll be for some other thing, and then we'll be sitting here having another item on our agenda consuming county time and staff time to resolve some other minor, it seems like an overreaction. It just does. we should all strive to be respectful at all times.
Oh, let's put that, make that other note.
Well, with that.
Commissioner Ward.
Yes, with that, so, under meeting decorum number 2, all attendees will adhere to the Winona County respectful workplace policy. Well, I'm sorry, how does the public know and how can we dictate our policy on the public? I'm assuming this is referring to members of the public also. And and I don't need to make our packets any bigger or waste any more, paper or airspace on the agenda. But again, we have that in there and I don't know how we can
What
ask
page are
people.
you on? Number
I'm
2?
right on the front page under meeting decorum, number 2. It says all attendees will adhere to Winona County. So it says all attendees and this is relating to, the open mic and everything, but I don't know that everybody knows what our Winona County respectful workplace policy is. Again, is it overkill? Are we trying to put something in there that we cannot, we can't enforce? I mean, we do ask, and I don't know, again, it hasn't been a problem. We've had people that have come to the podium. Sometimes they get over the 2 minutes, but that's about the majority of they've never, in 20 years, very minimal, maybe a little disrespectful, but I mean, there are citizens and they're voicing their opinions, but it hasn't been anything that hasn't been controllable.
And we want them to be comfortable.
Yeah.
I mean, we want them to feel like this is their podium and they have our
Their
ear. It's their
opportunity.
2 minutes.
Yeah. So again, I don't know that I'm sure it's published on the website. And I apologize, Ms. Holte, we probably haven't had it for 20 years. We've probably had this for less than 20 years. And we haven't had open mic for 20 years, but a long time. But again, I don't know, we're putting something in there that I don't know that people know how to do that. Just to give it
Commissioner
some
Ward, are
thought.
you suggesting we should drop it?
Well, if it's not anything that we can control, or I guess you could reference it if somebody got unruly, and maybe that's what I'm getting a head shake.
Because we don't put the policy, the respectful workplace policy is.
It's not printed here. And I
Not in
don't
here.
want to start printing more stuff.
And
Wait,
anytime-
can Commissioner Jacob have the?
I think he has a point to make, and then I got something else.
Okay, yeah.
Please.
And I'm a peeve of mine, anytime you use absolutes, all attendees will. That leaves no room for, we
Thou
should
shalt.
strive to adhere to respectful workplace. That would make more sense than, there's no room for, all attendees will, is somebody's dropping the ball. If somebody does something just a fraction, somebody goes 2 minutes and 1 second over on, that's an infraction.
So if we want to, I would like to see it removed. I mean, I don't know that it hasn't been an issue that, to my knowledge, and that can't be controlled in the walls of this room. Ms. Holte, you got a different opinion?
The intent of having that in there is really so that we have a means of addressing when somebody is out. And Ms. Poneman isn't here to speak to that, but she actually, I believe, helped develop this with the board and the administrator at that time. Again, if I recall correctly. So I would recommend that we consult with Ms. Sonneman prior to removing it. Maybe it can be modified in language, but I believe the intent was to be able to have something in there in case somebody.
Let's recommend to her that we would like it removed, if at all possible, because it's not something that we can really enforce, I don't think. And if she has a different take on it, let her present that to us.
Well, when it says all attendees will,
Will, yeah.
do we have authority over anyone other than employees?
We do if they're on our premise. I mean, it's no different than the cell phones. We can tell people either turn on, oh, my apologies. We can ask people to shut them off. And turn them on.
It's off, it's off. I apologize.
You lose your privileges for one.
Um, I think the intent is that we're asking ourselves and people to be respectful. That's like a baseline. So, I mean, I don't have a problem keeping it in if we want to amend the language, but you can't say attendees may adhere to the workplace, respectful workplace, because that's like, well, maybe I will and maybe I will be disrespectful, and that's not addressing the intent. So it kind of sets a baseline that bottom line, we're going to be at least as respectful as the workplace policy says. And it would give the chair the right to redirect somebody or to use different language perhaps, or not be personal in their remarks. It's those kinds of things, which are basic courtesies, like turning off your cell phone, and I apologize. That I'm sure that, I know that's in here somewhere, but I would say keep it, reword it if we have to. I mean, because it's not anything, you're not going to go to jail if you use the wrong word or if you use a swear word or whatever. But it would give the chair a chance to say, excuse me, I mean, if it becomes aggressive or, out of control, it would keep somebody from, it would pull them back in. So I would say keep it because of its intent, that we are all respectful of each other.
Mr. Ward?
So again, are we going to direct Attorney Sonneman to tell her we're not unanimous on this particular item?
Ms. Sonneman?
Yeah, and see where that goes. But if we go to the whole crux of this thing, policy. It is the goal of Winona County to foster open and transparent government. And these are the ground rules provided in management of public meetings and related activities conducted on behalf of Winona County and its affiliates. The rules adopted herein provide a framework with which to share topics and open opinions in a civil, fair, and equitable manner. Well, I'll go back to my chair rotation issue. Are we willing to discuss putting the chair rotation in our policy? Because we're talking about open and transparent government. Several years ago, the first meeting, it became very awkward and very cumbersome when we deviated from that several year policy. I guess it was a policy. I don't know. It wasn't written into this particular document, but maybe it was an unwritten policy. So I guess I'm asking, is anybody willing to discuss and put back into a written policy, a chair rotation schedule for Winona County Board?
Yeah, of course. I think that's the way it should be. And opening up this rules opens that can of worms. So I think that's well within the intent of this discussion. I certainly feel it should be there. It's really an interest to the fairness of each district. So, each set of constituents feels like they have their opportunity to have their representation fall into the chair position. And it's very common from many other counties that's how they do it.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Olson. Pardon me.
Oh, I just kind of found it ironic that these two voted against even having this discussion, and now they're.
It's here now.
I get it. I just kind of found that funny. I'm sorry for laughing. The changes that we've talked about so far as the lights, just kind of the formality changes. Do we have to go through those with motions? Are we doing this by consensus? We have a disagreement on number 2 under meeting decorum. Do we have to formalize that in order to come up with how are we going to do this? We're going to have a red line coming up for our next meeting where
That's what I think.
that's kind of the plan? Okay. And then we can make a motion on each one and
If we
choose?
want- yeah, if we
Okay,
want to.
I didn't know how that was gonna happen.
And reinstating the chair rotation will be one of them.
I'm not in favor of reinstating the chair rotation for the same reasons I said after I got elected, so. Commissioner West?
I'm not in favor of it either. We didn't follow it once we had it. And I think any individual commissioner, because of personal responsibilities or job responsibilities, might also have a preference not to be chair. So that we should respect that also. So the idea that each person has a chance to be chair is a nice idea, but in reality, each person might not want to be chair. And that's kind of what happened. So we didn't follow it. So I don't want to have another policy that we don't follow. So I would be against adding that.
So.
Sorry,
oh,
so
I'm
I
sorry.
wasn't paying very good
Okay.
attention, so I'm not sure if it's you or Commissioner Ward.
Oh,
but-
go
so
ahead.
Commissioner Ward, Commissioner Olson, Commissioner Jacobs.
Ladies first.
Okay, so Commissioner Kvesi, when we first put in the rotation, that was an option that people, if their work schedule, and that was talked about, and I don't remember if you were on the board, I think you were, that if it didn't work into their personal, their realm of activities and responsibilities, they could pass, but then it would just go to the next rotation. So we did accommodate for people that did not have the time, energy, or desire to be chair. But it does give everybody equal, we're supposed to be 5 equals. It gives everybody equal opportunity without putting the politics or the flair into it. People can plan if they know they're going to be chair. They actually can plan ahead better than waiting to that first meeting in January. And I remember my first county board meeting when I took the oath, we had an election. I didn't know those people I was serving with. I mean, so I didn't know who to vote for or not, because you were just getting into and working with them to know how they would do or anything. But the rotation was set up so that it would never be a first-time commissioner. It would be somebody that served at a minimum probably of a year in the county board, so that they had experience. So we did allow for people that wanted to opt out.
Commissioner Olson, Commissioner Jacob, and then Commissioner Kvesi.
So I guess my previous statement was, as we're having this discussion, we might not all agree on different things, but we're going to bring it back and formalize it with discussions. I won't support the rotation of the chair because I think the statute's very clear, shall elect, it says. So I'm going to go by the statute. That's what I've always said. That's what the statute says. But I think we can bring that forward, just as we're having this open discussion. And you can advocate for it again and try to change my mind, but.
Commissioner Jacob.
I think Commissioner Ward expressed my concern when Commissioner Kvesi stated that the commissioner would have the chance, but since some commissioners passed, she viewed that as not following the rotation. It was not following it by their choice. It's still, the opportunity should be given to all districts that want to participate in the chair position. And through the elected process, you can still elect whoever it is that is up on the rotation. I agree that the formal application, that person needs to be elected, but it can be that whoever is the next person up is the person that the full board decides to elect, if that's the policy.
Commissioner Kvesi.
Yeah, I agree with the discussion so far. We did discuss people having the option to leave themselves out of it. But we also set up the rotation in a very careful manner so that no one would be serving during the time of their election. We wanted to leave that aspect out of it. I remember that part of the discussion. And so what happens when people opt out and we go to the next person, then we fell back into the option where someone could be chair during their election year and they might not want to be chair during their election year. So that was why, we had competing interests there. Someone has a chance to be chair if they don't want to be chair, but at the same time, we is it right to be chair during your election year? You know, so that was what we were balancing at that time, so.
Mr. Jacob?
I have no recollection about anything with whether you were chair on an election year. I know that Commissioner Kaler
Interesting.
was
Okay.
chair on the year that she ran for the position.
It's been done because we got out of rotation, but it was discussed.
I think that's just, in my view, it's just part of your duty. I mean, if you're up on the rotation, you're doing it. It's got nothing to do with elections, in my view.
That hand, Commissioner Ward?
Yes, so I would advocate, being that we're just going to do a red line document, and we're doing adding and deleting, I would say under, I guess, maybe, well, under policy, that before these rules apply, before the insert in between the two paragraphs, that Winona County has an established rotation of the chair and then we had it all worked out how if we want to be very specific, how the districts rotated through the system. And it's at the discretion of the person in the rotation if they accept the nomination and election, or if they want to pass. And then we can discuss it at
Yeah, I
the
support that.
next time.
I don't support that, and I'm also not sure that I think it should bother to come back in the red line. There are a number of items on here that I brought forward that we decided we're going to leave it the way it is, and we're not going to be seeing those at the next meeting, so.
I mean, I'm not going to support it just because the statute's very clear. I don't know why we would deviate from that, but
Unfortunately, there's many counties that then deviate from
well,
statute.
shame on them.
Yep, we're all breaking the law and such. I would like to, I'll put in here, when you're chair, you don't have to sign things that you don't vote for. My name shows, if people go back in the record, my name shows up on a lot of things that I didn't support, but I had to sign. So then can the chair pass on signing things that they don't support? No, that's not what it is.
Mr. Jacob?
It seems only fair that it would at least come back in the red line because, you know, it was
2-3.
it was Commissioner Meyer's idea to have this on the agenda. I guess she didn't foresee that somebody might view a different part of it than what she did. So to have the things about the lights that she wants on there, but not things that other commissioners want on there, just seems more than a little hypocritical.
No. Commissioner Jacob, so I've suggested that we modify the 3 meetings to get on the discussion, and that wasn't popular. I've suggested that we ought to use our staff titles. That isn't popular, so I'm quite all right that items that I think might be a good idea aren't widely accepted by a majority of the board. It's okay with me. Commissioner Ward?
So Madam Chair, is it, you're disagreeing with it? It is a goal of the Winona County to foster open and transparent government?
Nope, not at all. I don't think that has anything to do with it.
Well, I think it starts from day one of a new county board, January, whatever the first Tuesday of the month. It sets a precedence of how a board will operate and how it will be open and transparent. I have very strong feelings on that. So
I can tell that you do
I'll
that.
stick with it. So again, I guess I have to ask clarifying it. Will we see it as a item that we will discuss at our next meeting? Again, when this comes back in a total document? Or is it getting lost at this point?
I'll be happy
Commissioner Olson, you said-
happy to vote against it twice.
But you said you would, maybe we can change your mind.
Thank you, Greg.
You did say you were open-minded enough to,
However, you're supposed to call him Commissioner Olson.
yes,
Oh,
yes. Commissioner
oh, darn
Olson,
it,
you
Steve.
did say, you gave us the opportunity.
All right.
You gave us the opportunity to bring it back and you did.
I think this is an open discussion. Put it on there. I'll vote against it again.
All right. So is that clear, Ms. Holte?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Okay, so I think Commissioner Kovesi has an announcement.
Yes, I just want to say that the We Are Water exhibit has been closed. They're packing it up probably as we speak or it's gone already. We did have an event on Saturday, which was water testing, and people brought in samples from their private wells. And it was tested for nitrates. It was a very successful event. We had quite a few people come in over the hours that we were open, and we will have at least part of the exhibit back for the county fair, so that should be very popular. And when we talked earlier about staff, how diligent our staff works and does the business of the county, this is another example. This was on a Saturday afternoon, and we had our staff people there working to support the activities of this event. So I can't tell you how many times, I'll go to an event in the evening or on a weekend, and our staff are there just putting things on and working to move the work of the county. And I really appreciate that. So on County Appreciation Day, I'll add that.
Can I just say one thing? I know I didn't ask. I didn't
Would you
ask.
like to make an announcement?
Um, I'm just gonna ask, Maureen, if we had the animal folk groups speak tonight, and I don't recall if Kay Qualley had given us a report that we had asked her to several meetings ago. And I guess I know that was to review other counties' regulations on dog kennels and everything. And when Ms. Olson asked me about that, no relation, by the way, I don't recall if we ever had that. But maybe part of it,
Polly up there, I don't see her, no.
but just for the future, since it's not on the agenda, I just would like that brought back forth. Thank you.
I think you had a board action and an announcement.
Oh, sure. So my announcement is just, first of all, thank the board for the resolution that they passed on Highway 74. Senator Miller asked me to come up a week ago, Tuesday on April 19th to provide testimony there on behalf of that resolution and what the citizens want. So he brought a bill forward to basically provide funding for about $500,000 to move that project forward. So that's the announcement. The future agenda item would be, I guess I'm not entirely sure with the ending of the emergency, the official emergency status, that the public access through the internet. It would be my goal that for transparency that we continue to have this internet access with county board meetings and really as many meetings as feasible. I understand that decision makers, the ruling is that the decision makers need to be in person, but if the public wants to access and be able to view through the internet, we've certainly become accustomed to doing that. This seems like the time to make a formal policy that we would continue to move forward with that. So I would like further discussion on making sure that staff is clear on what we do with that.
I'll second that. The legislature made some changes.
Mhm.
So I think probably a good place to start would be an update on what we can do without having to make any change.
We can't have discussion yet. We got the second.
Yeah.
Next time we'll get the
Next
third. Then we'll get it on the agenda.
Then we'll discuss the fact you're going to discuss it.
Yeah.
That's right.
I have
That's
to
right.
use a star system on the agenda if it's one, twice, three times, so I remember. Thank you.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner
We
Olson,
have to
second by
discuss
Commissioner Kuvesi. Any discussion on the adjournment? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? We are adjourned.
Well, and in some rules, you don't need an emotion to
Yes,
adjourn.
it's
you know,
true.
some